Good afternoon. Today we have a meeting with the Indonesian Ambassador, Mr. Mohamad Fajrul Rahman. Your Excellency, thank you very much for finding time to come to our studio. You are a representative of an amazing country. You have several thousand of islands, a lot of ethnic groups, a lot of different religions and languages, with the Islam being the dominant religion. How does your government manage this vibrant and diverse society and nation? And what is the Indonesian identity?
Rahmat Gaspadin or Mr. Seidakhmet for the question. And also, thank you very much also for the Kazakh 24 for inviting us here. We are very happy as the citizen of Indonesia, as the ambassador of the Republic of Indonesia to Kazakhstan and Tajikistan. As you said before about Indonesia, we have more than 17,000 islands. We are archipelagic state. It is different than Kazakhstan, because Kazakhstan is landlocked country, only one island, and in Indonesia we have more than 17,000 islands. And we have also 273 million population. Compared to Kazakhstan, Kazakhstan only has 19 million people. And in Indonesia, we have also 1,331 ethnic group, 10 times than Kazakhstan ethnic group. In Kazakhstan, as far as I know, Kazakhstan only has 130 ethnic group, but Indonesia we have 1,331 ethnic group. And we have Sikh official religion, but also so many traditional faith in Indonesia. So, but we are under the same state. We call it the Republic of Indonesia. Like Kazakhstan, the Republic of Kazakhstan. We are the same. We are republic. We are republican.
Yes, of course, your ethnic composition is much more diverse and complicated. In Kazakhstan, we have about 130 ethnic groups, but some ethnic groups are very minor. They only number maybe 10 or 20 people, but you have millions of people belonging to one ethnic group. So my next question that I would like to ask you is, we all heard about the Japanese, South Korean, Malaysian, and Singaporean miracle, this so-called miracles. Your country is seventh economy in the world. It's a part of the 11 rapidly developing countries. It is very impressive. How did you achieve this?
I will repeat on the first question. We are not only under the Republic of Indonesia as the name of our state, but we have only one what we call it a guiding principle, our ideology. We call it Pancasila. It means 5 guiding principle. The first is we are the belief in God. That is the first. So if you want to know about Indonesia, you have to know about our guiding principle. All of Indonesia, we have one. The first, it is belief in God. And the second, it is the humanity. We love humanity. And the third, nationalism or unity. And the fourth, it is about democracy. Almost the same as Kazakhstan. Democracy, social state, and secular state. But in Indonesia, we have never mentioned the secular state. We call it our democratic state and social state. And the fifth, it is about social justice. That is what we call it, unite unite Indonesia as the republic and as the culture and as the one ideology. We call it Pancasila. That is the difference between the what is it the difference between or amongst the nation in Southeast Asia, like Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, and etc.
Yes, we heard about Panchasila and 5 key principles. Thank you very much for your explanation and clarification. Now I would like to ask you this question. Indonesia has been ruled by the Netherlands for almost 350 years. So what are the political structure, political mechanism that you inherited from the Dutch? And also the East Indies companies, the Dutch, it was the first, even before the British East Indies Company. What are these political mechanisms? How are they reflected in the modern political structure of Indonesia?
Yeah, okay, thank you so much for the question. We have been colonized not only by the Netherlands, but also the Portuguese and also British, Dutch, and Japanese. It is around 350 years we are under colonized by these nationalities. But after in 1945 we have declared the proclamation of our independence by our founding father and our founding mothers, and then the structure of Indonesian economy from the colonial time, it is very different, not equalized. So we have to equalize from because we have 5 the biggest island in Indonesia: Sumatra, Java, Kalimantan, and then Sulawesi, also Maluku and Papua. And there is a different the economics growth among this island. In Western island, especially in Java Island, it is very the economic growth. It is very big. Around 60% of the size of our economic, it is in Java Island. But in Kalimantan Island, it is only 10% or 8 to 10%. And then in Eastern Island in Indonesia, it is around 6 to 8%. So our president, Mr. President Joko Widodo, has to equalize this the economic growth. So the decree of our president 2019 is to move our capital city from Jakarta, from the Java Island to Kalimantan Island. It is in the middle of Indonesia. It is like Kazakhstan moving the capital city from Almaty to Astana. It is in the middle of Kazakhstan. And the reason almost the same. So we have to develop from the middle to grow the economic development to the western and the eastern of Indonesia, not only in the western in the western part of Indonesia. So it is one of I think the revolutionary progress under President Joko Widodo because of this decision to equalize the economic development of Indonesia from western to central and then to the eastern part of Indonesia. I think it is the same as Kazakhstan. I heard today from your president, His Excellency Mr. Kasim Jomart Tokayev, with a good speech and strong speech. It is how to develop the country like Kazakhstan, how to equalize the economic development for the people of Kazakhstan. It is almost the same as Indonesian president now, President Joko Widodo.
Thank you very much for your interesting answer. We indeed learned a lot from you. Now we have compare it Kazakhstan and Indonesia, we talked about moving the capital. Our capital city was built very quickly. So how is the transferring of the capital in Indonesia going on? In Germany, it took like 10 or 15 years to move the capital from Bonn to Berlin. And how is moving capital? How is this process going on in your country, in Indonesia?
Yes, thank you so much for the question. This is our long-term project because the planning to move from Java Island to Kalimantan Island, it is not coming from our president for the first time. It is from the first president of Indonesia, Mr. Sukarno. He said after the independence, 1945, he said we have to move to the central of Indonesia, to move to Kalimantan. So it means almost 77 years ago. That is the planning from our first president, like the planning of the first president of your country, Mr. Nursultan Nazarbayev. So the first president, Mr. Sukarno, said we have to move to the middle of Indonesia to develop the economic not only in Java or in western part of Indonesia, but also in the central part of Indonesia and the eastern part of Indonesia. And then we have 7 presidents. They cannot handle it. And then the President Joko Widodo, the 7th president, said, okay, we have to move. We have to move to the new capital city because of what? Because in Jakarta, the population of Jakarta, 15 million people. Can you imagine? Almost the same as Kazakhstan population in Jakarta. So we have to move because of the population, the density of this population. And then we said also, this is the heritage of our past president. So then we have to move to the new capital city. And then this is the long-term project until 2045. Until 2045. It is not only one night. It is not only one night. It is It is a long time project from 2019 to 2045. But we have to move to the new capital city in 2024. But we have only 3 buildings over there. The presidential building, the vice presidential building, and legislative building. Only 3. And then we will growing up until 2045 to maybe 5 million people over there. Like here, from 200,000 to until now 1 million people in Kazakhstan. I think it is very good. It is like the magnet of the people in Indonesia. I think that is very good. And as you know, we have the planning. We are Nur Sultan as the capital city of Kazakhstan become the sister city of our new capital city, Ibu Kota Nusantara capital city. So this is the first project, super project of our president also, President Joko Widodo. He said we have to set up a sister city, Ibu Kota Nusantara or Nusantara capital city in Indonesia, sister city with Nur Sultan capital city of Kazakhstan. This is the first time for us.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, have you taken into consideration the experience of Brazil, which is a huge country and also a populous country, when they moved their capital to the city of Brasilia, which was a brand new city built from scratch? What were the ideas that you were looking at, the humanitarian or economic or other reasons?
Yes, that is good question. We are learning also from the value of the moving of capital city from some of the countries. I cannot mention it. And I went to some capital city with my president because I was before the spokesperson of the president, and we always talk about how how is the moving of the capital city. And we are talking about the value and also the benefit of the moving of capital city, and also the success of the capital city. One, Nur Sultan, the capital city of Nur Sultan, we consider it as one of the success story, but maybe some value. But I think it is okay. Only some some value about the building or some about the situation. But I think we can learn the best practices from Nur Sultan, and we also learn from the value of the moving of the capital city from another or the other state. It is very good for us. We will consider the value and the success of the moving of the capital city. Thank you so much for the consideration for the advice for the moving of the capital city.
Thank you too for positive feedback. And as a Kazakh, I'm very critical about our capital city. I'm very critical and cautious about the praise because the situation is much more complex. But nevertheless, thank you very much. So the next question is, for many centuries, Indonesians have had contacts and ties with Arabs, Persians, Indians, Chinese, Portuguese, British, Dutch, and other people. And recently with Americans, especially the American influence is very dominant all over the world. How does it impact your culture?
Yes, thank you very much to our founding father and our founding mothers, because we set up our basis for this question, for this situation, because we have what we call it the free and active policy for our foreign policy. It is not neutral. It doesn't mean free and active. It doesn't mean neutral policy, but we are free to decide how to handle the problem in the world. But we are very active also to support the peace, solidarity, social justice, and everything. So it means what we call it free and active policy of our international policy. Free and active. So why our president Joko Widodo went to Ukraine and met Mr. Zelensky, the president, and also went to Russia to meet Mr. Putin. So we call it we are free and we are active to support peace, social justice, and then the sovereignty of the state or the people.
Very good, Mr. Ambassador. Indonesia was ruled by very strong statesman, Mr. Muhammad Suharto. He ruled the country for more than 30 years. He was a very strong politician, but at the same time, I remember very well those times, and I was young. Some people said that it was authoritarian, some said it was democratic, but he helped the country to emerge from a severe crisis. So what do Indonesians feel about Mr. Suharto, and what reforms that Mr. Suharto carried helped the Indonesia to emerge from the crisis?
It is very amazing question. It is like a deja vu of my student life. Because when I was a student in Bandung Institute of Technology, I was the student leader, Bandung Institute of Technology, and then we have very criticized. We are very critical to Suharto, and then with 7 or 8 of my friends, we have been detained 3 years because of the criticize of this president, the second president of Indonesia. But it is okay. Every president, every leader has their own weakness but has their own strengths also. I think I have to tell frankly speaking, he tried to develop economic development of Indonesia from the stretch to become one of the developed countries in the world. I think I have to say it frankly speaking. But I have to say also, he didn't support democracy in Indonesia. He didn't support democracy in Indonesia. There is no, what we call it in our democracy keyword, like the, the free speech, and then free organization, and then also free to write or free to speak like this. I cannot speak like this under Suharto era, because they said it is only who said yes to him can speak or can write on the newspaper or can speak television like this. And then we said, oh my God, this is the new, we are independent from the Dutch colonials. And then we said, we need to set up the new and modern country, the prosperity and also the democracy. But Mr. Suharto said, we need the first only economic development, democracy the second, or maybe the third, or maybe the fourth, or maybe none of democracy, because our challenge only economic development. And me and all my colleagues in university, when I was the student leader, we said, no, we need the prosperity and we need democracy also. And what I got detained 3 years as student leader under Suharto era. But until now, that is the what we call it as the learning for us, for me, and also for my country. What our goals now is prosperity plus democracy. It is parallel. It is the same goal. We cannot divide the first economy and then the second democracy. But we said, without democracy, there is no prosperity. Without prosperity, there is no democracy. And I heard it today from your president's speech, Mr. Tokayev. This is the big speech, strong speech, and very visionary. He said today, the presidency only 1 term and 7 years. I said, my God, it is very good. Only 1 term and 7 years. And the president said to the people, addressed to the nation. But in my country, we try to find out that similar goals, we have to went out to the street. And I have to go and I went out to the street and got detained 3 years in prison, but under Suharto era. And then in Reformation, Reformation era, 1998, Suharto stepped down, because of the demonstration, because of the fighting of the people of Indonesia, student, people, many things, provision and everything. And what we got? 2 term, 1 term, 5 years. So if you are Indonesian, if you want to be the president, you have only the chance 2 term and 1 term, 5 years. And here today I heard 1 term, 7 years, and without demonstration. It is very good. It is like the visionary of the His Excellency Mr. Kasim Joma Tokayev. Salute and Koto Bolson for the people of Kazakhstan.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador. I also support my president, although with some caveats. And I also hope that your expectations about our presidents and our country will realize. The next question. Indonesia is the most populous Muslim majority country. We know that the religion is a very sensitive issue in many countries. Does Indonesian Islam differ from traditional Islam? And has it been influenced by Buddhism and Hinduism?
Yes, thank you so much. This is the good question about the Islam in Indonesia. 87% of Indonesian population are Muslim. So it means from 273 million people of Indonesia, 87% are Muslim, and almost 23% are Hindu, Buddha, Christian, Catholic, and many traditional faith over there. And in Indonesia, we have the same similarities with Kazakhstan. We are moderate Muslim. You are, and what is it? What we call it? The school of Muslim in Kazakhstan is Hanafi school. In Indonesia, we call it Shafi'i school. Shafi'i school. And I think it is not really different, but sometimes it is, for me, it is rather, what is it? What I wish, it is rather different with my activity of religion like this. When we are going for what is it? We call it solat, praying, and in Indonesia, because of Shafi'i school, after you read Al-Fatihah, because you are said after we are reciting Al-Fatihah, and then we have to say Amin. It is loudly after Al-Fatihah when you pray. But here in Kazakhstan, the first time I came here, I went to masjid, and I pray, and none of the Jama'ah say Amin, only me. So that is the difference between Kazakhstan and Indonesia Muslim. But the parallel of Indonesian Muslim and Kazakhstan Muslim, I think, because Islam is it is very easy to what we call it, to culturized with the culture and also with the democracy. So it is like a parallel. Islam, culture, and democracy. It is very easy for the Muslim religion. It is in Indonesia also. So in Indonesia, we call it moderate Islam, moderate Muslim, because we respect each other. So many, what we call it, school in Islam, we respect them, and also we respect many religion and religious faith in Indonesia. So for us as the Muslim in Indonesia, it is not difficult to to absorb the culture, the democracy, and everything, because we are open-minded. So what I say about Indonesian Muslim, I want to say in one keyword: open mind. Muslim everywhere is open mind, anti-violent, pro-peace, and then love social justice also.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador. In our country, we have concerns about Salafist and Wahhabite sects in our country, operating in our country. Do you have this problem in Indonesia? Do you have these different Salafist and Wahhabite sects in your country? And is there maybe tension between followers of traditional Islam and followers of these Islamic movements?
Until now, as far as I know, in Indonesia, the majority of Muslim in Indonesia is moderate Muslim. Is moderate Muslim. We are in the middle way Muslim. So, yes, there is only some little tension about the what we call it sometimes extremism and what we call it also terrorism. But I have to point out, using religion to separate, using religion to to set up enemies of Islam. But the majority of Muslim in Indonesia is moderate Muslim. We are middle way Muslim. And this September, our minister, the religion minister of Indonesia, will come to Kazakhstan, and one of the chairperson of the biggest mass organization of Indonesia, Nahdlatul Ulama, also come to Kazakhstan, invited by the government of Kazakhstan to present in a World Religion Leaders meeting here, invited by Mr. President Tokayev also. So we will show to the people of Kazakhstan, Indonesia, the Muslim Indonesia, we have what we call it the middle way of Muslim, and we call it also the moderate Muslim. And as far as I know, Muslim everywhere, all over the world, they love peace, they love social justice, they respect every religion, they respect humanity. That is what we want to show to Kazakhstan and all over the world, that Islam in Indonesia love peace, love social justice, and respect every religion. So we are the middle way of Muslim.
Mr. Ambassador, in Indonesia, traditionally and historically, you have your own way of dressing. So nowadays, there are some people in Kazakhstan who say that we should dress like Arabs. The other people say that we should wear traditional Kazakh clothing, because Islam doesn't really say how you should be dressed. So do you have this discussion, do you have this debate in Indonesia about how people should dress?
I think it is like only small discussion about it, because we are in the middle way of Muslim, we are moderate Muslim, so we open mind. Okay, if you have the perspective on that problem, okay, we have to talk, we have to dialogue, we have to set up dialogue about this. There is no what we call it, you have to do like this, you have to do like that. No, it is not the middle way Islam. Yes, right. So we are open mind. Then it is depending on so we have to dialogue our perspective. That is the middle way of Islam. That is the moderate Islam. We have no opportunity to suppress each other, or to say that your perspective is wrong and this perspective is right. But we have only one, what we call it, we are Muslim and we are open mind, and we respect each other, and we respect also the perspective.
I think we should listen to the experience of the most populous Muslim majority country. That will help us as well. A lot of countries, a lot of nations typically are divided into northerners and southerners, like Germany, France. They have this division. In your country, you have a different division, a Western and Eastern division. Is it because of some ethnic and cultural ties and history?
Okay, in Indonesia, if we mention the western part, the central part, the eastern part, it is not because of the difference of the culture. Not, it is of time difference. Western part, if in the western part, as an example, 6 EM, and then it means in central part of Indonesia 7 EM, and then the eastern part of Indonesia, so it means 8 EM. It is the time different. It is not the cultural different, because 17,000 island in Indonesia, the population of Indonesia, we have 13,331 ethnic group. They live in this in this island. So it is not the different of the culture. Like here, maybe the southern and the southern and the northern. It is not like that. It is only the time different in Indonesia. We are until 77 years from our independent day, 1945. Now we are the mixture of all Indonesian ethnic group. So we have no different about the western part is the western part is another culture, southern part is another culture, and what is it, the eastern part is another culture. No, it is not like that. 77 years we have now, it is like the mixture of culture. We call it the culture of Indonesia now.
So you don't have the problem like in Korea, in Italy, in the US, where the southern part and northern part are very different.
No, we have no problem like that. Because we have 77 years, we have learned, we have so many things we have to learn about the experience to live together. It is like the melting pot. Also Indonesia, it is like not one city as the melting pot. Indonesia, it is like the melting pot of 1,331 ethnic group. And everywhere you go, you have only one national language. We call it Indonesia language, Bahasa Indonesia. Even we have 1,331 ethnic group, we have one national language. We call it Bahasa Indonesia or Indonesian language. Indonesian language. And we have only one nation, we call it the Republic of Indonesia. And it is coming from our, it's set up by our founding fathers and our founding mothers since the fighting to got independent of Indonesia from the Dutch colonials and Japanese colonial and etc. And so we have the long history to set up the new Indonesia, the long story also to set up one nation and also one citizenship, Indonesia, Republic of Indonesia. So we have no problem about the tension between amongst the ethnic group. No, we are moving to the new Indonesia. It is the past way of Indonesia.
Thank you very much. Your country was called as Indonesia by German geographer Adolf Bastian. Has anybody, local specialist or scientist, tried to change this name? Why do I raise this question? Because in our country, in Kazakhstan, there are always different voices, different people who try to change the name of our country. For example, some people want to name it Kazakheli, which is translated like as a Kazakh land or some other. Do you have this situation in your country where when some people would like to change the name, the official name of the country?
Okay, I have to read my note about this because this is the historical question. Yes, as far as I know, the name of our country, Indonesia, was coming from what they call it, the anthropologist from English, Logan, and all. Yes, James Logan, and also Samuel Windsor Earle. Yeah. Oh yes, and then popularized by the German ethnologist Adolf Sebastian from his book. And the name of Indonesia also popularized in 1924 by the Student Association in Netherlands, Perhimpunan Indonesia or Indonesian Vereniging or Indonesia Association. So can you imagine the student of Indonesia in Netherlands who colonized Indonesia become the voice of the independent of Indonesia. So sometime in Indonesia, one of the Indonesianists, so it means the scientists to study of Indonesia, George Kahim, he said that Ben Anderson said the fighting for the proclamation of Indonesia was coming from the student, from the youth. So he called it the Pemuda Revolution, Youth Revolution. So the name of Indonesia, 1974, adopted by Indonesian Parenting, Student Association. And then in 1974, under what we call it, Youth Pledge, on October 28 in 1928, finally our country become Indonesia, and then the youth, the young people said, we call our country Indonesia, our bahasa, our language, bahasa Indonesia or Indonesian language, and our nation is Indonesia. And through the proclamation of independence on August 17, 1945, we call Indonesia. So thank you very much for the anthropologists, the anthropologists like Logan, and also the ethnologists like Adolf Bastian. But we have also the old name of Indonesia. It is not Indonesia, but Nusantara. So it means archipelago. It is the old name of Indonesia. So because we have 17,000 islands, so we call it archipelagic state. Archipelagic state, and the name of Nusantara, now we adapted the name Nusantara to our capital city. We call it Nusantara Capital City. That is the old name of Indonesia. Maybe longer than the name of Indonesia. Maybe longer than Indonesia. We call it Nusantara Archipelagic state, and we take it, now become the name of our capital city in Kalimantan. So it is the old name of Indonesia. And some people in Indonesia, seculars, and also the young people, students, sometimes also said, so we have to change the name of Indonesia. It is the Republic of Nusantara. But until now, there is no progress. But our President Joko Widodo, okay, we will take it and put it as the name of our capital city, Nusantara. Nusantara is the longer name, the old name of Indonesia. Before the name of Indonesia, longer in our history. So you can call Indonesia Nusantara. It is like Nur Sultan. Almost the same. Nur Sultan, Nusantara. So the sister city.
Замечательный компромисс.
It's a great compromise. Mr. Ambassador, Indonesian language is part of the Malay languages family, right?
Yes, the Malay language. We call it, the Malay language is the trading language. The trading language around Nusantara. It means Indonesia now, Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, and Filipina. We call it lingua franca, the trading language. Yes, lingua franca. Nusantara. Nusantara before it is not only Indonesia, but also some of Singapore. Before Singapore, it's not the name of the Singapore. Temasek. Temasek is the name of Singapore. Before, in the era of Nusantara, we have the same, what we call it, kingdom. The kingdom. It is like Kazakhstan, and then maybe Uzbekistan, under Bukhara state, or something like that. Yeah. But in 1945, we proclaimed our independence, and only the island that colonized by the Dutch we call it Indonesia. Not Malaysia, not Singapore, not Philippines. Only the island that colonized by the Dutch. Even the East Timor, not Indonesian, East Timor, or now Timor-Leste, colonized by the Portuguese. So we said it is not one of our country. So now East Timor become the independent state also, Timor-Leste Republic. Because colonized by the Portuguese, not by the Dutch.
Mr. Ambassador, we have very different cultures. You are a maritime country which is located between Indian and Pacific Oceans, and we are a steppe country which is located in the middle of continent of Eurasia. So we are like different sides of the magnet, and we are very grateful for you to opening the cultural center of Indonesia here. So my question is, how do you think the cultural ties, cultural relations between our countries develop and grow?
Oh, it is very interesting question, but I have to take my my water before. Okay, it is very interesting question. Indonesia is archipelagic. We have what we call it archipelagic maritime culture. Maritime culture, but Kazakhstan as the steppe countries, a steppe culture, nomad, and or maybe we call it landlocked country, landlocked culture also. We have very different land, very different geography. But the first thing we have to remember, we are human, so we are brother. We are sisterhood and brotherhood between humanity. It is not because of the geography, but because we are human being. That is the first thing. The ties between Kazakhstan and Indonesia is because we are human being. So when Mahatma Gandhi said, all over the world, whatever your state, whatever your tribe, whatever your race, we are the same. Under the sun, we are human being. And and we call it under the God, Allah. Yes, under the God. We are only the same, the human being. That is the strongest ties between Indonesia and Kazakhstan. We respect each other as the human being. And secondly, I think because of we are almost the same, the majority of Muslim. In Indonesia, 87% of Indonesian people are Muslim, and in Kazakhstan, 70% of Kazakhstani are Muslim. We have different, what we call it, different school, but we have the same religion. So many similarities about it. And thirdly, I think because of we are Asian countries. We are Asian. You are Central Asia, and Indonesia is what we call it, Southeast Asian countries. But we are Asian, and we have almost the same face, and also the hate of Asian. It is not subtle, but the gesture, it is like the bigger in Kazakhstan, because the gesture and the posture of the body of the Kazakhstani, it is like the bigger than Indonesia, but it is almost the same. The head almost the same, and we have the face
almost the same height.
Yes, and our name almost the same also. In Indonesia, my name is Mohamad, and here Din Mohamad, so it is almost the same, Dimas. So the culture almost the same, but the different only in what we call it the weather in Indonesia. In Indonesia, we have no snow like here. We have no spring. We have no autumn. Indonesia only 2 seasons. Only rainy day and only we call it sunny day. We have no snow in Indonesia. So it is not really different. And the nomad people, I think it is almost like Indonesian people because of what? The nomad always moving. because of the way, because of the season, always moving, and bring your the horse, the sheep, Baranina, Kalzatina, Baranina, and then also Lawson, something like that. You bring over that and go around the state. But Indonesia also, we have our boat. We call it the small boat, and we going around Nusantara, going around Indonesia from island to island. We are nomad in maritime. You are nomad in steppe. We are the same. We are nomad. We are almost the same. We are nomad through the ocean. You are nomad through the land. So it is almost the same. Why so many Indonesians now went out to another country? Our what we call it, our ancestor, they went to Africa. They went to Africa. They went to Australia by boat. They went to also so many islands in the world. So we are nomad, almost the same.
Mr. Ambassador, the trade turnover between our countries is very modest. Is it possible to increase it? And do you think we can create joint ventures, the Kazakh-Indonesian joint ventures?
Yes, that is one of our goal, because our president, Mr. Joko Widodo said, my activity as a diplomat has to growing up 80% of our diplomatic relationship to economy. So one of our goal is to grow the trading volume between Kazakhstan and Indonesia $1 billion in the next future, maybe in the next 2 or 3 years. Until now, we have only 400 million $. So we believe that the economic ties between Indonesia and Kazakhstan become growing and growing because of the similarity between us, as the similarity of the culture between us, but also we can join and we can collaborate each other. I think we believe in the next future $1 billion we can reach it. That is our goal.
Thank you very much. And you have arrived in our country recently. What are your first impressions? Because it is believed that the first impressions are the strongest ones. So what are your impressions about our country, our culture?
Oh, it is very nice. I have had 5 things in my mind. Firstly, the president, Kasim Jomat Tokayev, the visionary, he is the visionary, and today I heard about his visionary about your Kazakhstan. Oh, Kasim Jomat Tokayev, because I have to send my credential to him here. So the first thing I remembered about Kazakhstan is because of your president, Kasim Jomat Tokayev. What is the second? Dimas Kudaibayev. Because me and my wife love Dimas Kudaibergen from our country, from Indonesia, because of he can touch 7 octaves. And we will go to Almaty the next 23rd September because of Dimas Kudaibergen concert over there. And thirdly, it is about what? Best bar mark with the horse meat. that is I remember about Kazakhstan. It is very nice because in Indonesia I have never eat horse meat, and this is the first time here in Kazakhstan I ate horse meat. And what is the fourth? It is about snow. Because in Indonesia we have no snow. When I came here on the 25th of December, almost Nur Sultan, it is like a white city. It is like a white city. Oh my God, what kind of country is it? It is snow and it is white, and I love it. So it is the fourth thing I have had I remember. And maybe if I have to add, because the name of the city, the same as the first president, Nur Sultan. So that is, I have had 5 things. Mr. Kasim Jomat Tokayev, Dimas Kudaibergen, Best Barmak, and then what is it? The snow, and then the fifth it is about the what is it? Nur Sultan. I remember about it, and thank you so much, and Koto Bolson for the people of Kazakhstan.
Господин посол,
Thank you very much, Mr. Ambassador. 17 of on August 17, the Indonesia is celebrated its independence, and I would like to congratulate with this anniversary, 77 years of independence. May your nation develop and grow, because you understand what is the most important in this world is to keep ties, maintain ties, because now we see the destruction forces in the world. We need to work hard to promote the creative forces. We hope that our two nations will stand friends forever. Thank you very much.
Spasiba, Rahmat. Next year we have 30 years diplomatic relationship. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much.